You're listening to PetLifeRadio.com.
Hey, welcome everybody. It's Jamie Migdal, and I am your host for this episode of Pets Mean Business on the Pet Life Radio Network. It is a great radio network. In fact, I was just told by our producer, Mark Winter, who is fabulous, that apparently Google is now having some hosting of podcasts. And it's a big announcement that they've made recently. And apparently this radio network is now a part of that whole Google world on the podcast. I know I sound completely ignorant around this. See, my industry is pets, not Google, not even podcasts. Even though I love being a podcast host, I just love when I hear that podcasts are being accepted kind of and being more integrated into the media and into pop culture, if you will. So anyway, that is totally off topic. My name is Jamie Migdal. I said that already. I'm so happy to be here. I am this wonderful host of this wonderful radio show on this wonderful network. And what we do here, if you've been listening, then you already know this. But what we do is we talk to smart, inspiring, bold, vibrant, passionate people around what they've done in their life to build a life that allows them to work with animals, whether they're working with animals in a facility like a boarding and daycare facility, or they're running a shelter, or they've developed a product, or they've developed some technology, whatever it is, these people, these guests have somehow found a way to marry the passion they have for animals, for the animal industry, with their careers or with their life or with their hobbies. There's some integration that's so meaningful and so balanced. I mean, I always feel like all of our guests have this beautiful balance between loving animals and committing their life to animals, but also recognizing that there is a business to that as well. And that's, I think, where people become very successful in the area of the pet industry, which is a $60 billion industry. $60 billion. So people are spending $60 billion a year on taking care of their animals, which says so much for how we view animals and how important animals are in our life, and just how those relationships are more than caregiver, caretaker. It teaches and it's so much value. Animals add so much value to our lives, and they teach us things. And so the people who take care of those animals and the people that take care of the people who take care of those animals are so vitally important. So if you're sitting here right now wondering, well, this is all great, interesting, Jamie, people take care of animals and they make money and there's all these things people are doing. What about me? I love animals. I'd like to work with animals. I love my dog. How do I turn that into some sort of endeavor, career, what have you? Listen along. You'll hear lots of people who have been in that same place, including myself. I love animals. How do I make that my life? And if you listen and you open yourself up to it, I promise, you will get some inspiration from any number of our guests, including our guest today, who I'm really excited to have on. He's cool. In fact, I just got done listening to he does a video every day, and I just watched his video on YouTube, and I got inspired immediately because there's this really nice vulnerability that you'll hear when you hear our interview. So that's the whole thing about today. Today we have a guest who is going to be very inspiring, just like the rest of our guests. Our guest today is June Yoon. I like to say that, June Yoon. Best name ever. And he goes by June the Groomer. And I'll save all of my intro about him as I bring him on after our break. But what you will quickly learn is that grooming is, I think, a fairly misunderstood vertical in the pet space. And today June's going to talk us through some of the realities of grooming, what drives people to become groomers. If you yourself have thought about becoming a groomer, I'll tell you, it's the one area of the pet space that I have never considered doing because I find it to be very, very challenging. I'm curious to hear more from June about that. So on that note, we're going to go to break. And when we come back, it's June Yoon and me, Jamie, and you, the listener, all together talking about dogs. All right, we'll be right back.
People say less is more. At Red Barn, we think less is better. It's what you won't find that sets our natural premium pet food apart. No byproducts, no corn or soy, no fillers. Just the natural ingredients your pets need to live the healthy life they deserve. Look at the label. We want you to. Red Barn Naturals Pet Food. Simply the best. Find it in your local pet specialty store. Try our chicken rolled food as a meal or shredded as a topper.
Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com.
Okay, I promised you I had June the groomer here, and here he is. Hey, June, welcome to Pets Mean Business.
Hi, how are you? So nice to be here on the podcast with you. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited.
Oh my gosh, you're so awesome. Like I said, I was saying before the break that I watched this morning. I watched your show this morning, your video this morning, and your video was titled, I think it was "I Love You Guys." Was that what it was?
Yeah.
So June, you have a YouTube channel, correct?
Yes.
And how often are you recording stuff, or how often are you posting stuff on that YouTube channel?
It's not consistent. It's just, and I've been meaning to do more. Like, people have been asking, like, how to do round heads, square heads, round ears. So I've been wanting to, but because I'm starting a new department here, I'm pretty much by myself, and so it's really hard to try to video and actually groom and get everything done in a timely manner. So hopefully, as we get more staff, maybe I'll have somebody record while I'm grooming. And so, but honestly, just whenever inspiration hits and whenever I get a minute. But hopefully I'll get more consistent with that so that people can actually expect videos every week or every day.
Well, the reality is that you're a busy guy and you've got a lot going on, and you're also not just grooming dogs, but from what I know about you and what we'll share with everybody else is that you're not just grooming dogs to groom dogs, but you're also looking at ways to improve the industry and to have a real voice in the industry and to be a real advocate for groomers, for the dogs that groomers groom, and for just the art at large. And, I think that I've met a lot of groomers over the years. When I met you, June and I we met at Super Zoo in Las Vegas this past July of 2015. And, again, I meet a lot of people. Everyone has there's always great conversations to be had, but it's very rare that I would meet someone for 1 minute and say, I think I want to have you on my podcast, because you just exude passion. And in fact, in the pre-interview materials that we send out and that we ask for, to get back from our guests so we can prepare for the interview, there's a line in yours that just simply says, and I want to read this word for word. This is what you wrote for us just to know about you. You wrote, and I quote, "Grooming is my passion. I am so grateful to be able to do what I love and share my passion with the world." That's that's life, man. That's life. You are doing it. How did you figure that out? Can you tell us how you figured that you got to a place where you can say that sentence and have it really just resonate with yourself and with the people around you? Tell us about your life. How did you get here?
Well, the funny thing is, I've always loved dogs. I would, go into my friends' houses and sleep with their dogs, not that I know that sounds creepy, but I've always loved dogs. Even as a kid, our next door neighbor had a big Samoyed bear. He was my best friend. He was pretty much my only friend. And I would walk around in the woods with them. And I was actually selling cars at the time I found out about dog grooming. And I was talking to a couple who were looking at a vehicle to transport dogs in. And on the credit application, asked for their job, like, what do they do? And I asked them what they did, and they said they're dog groomers. And I laughed. I said, seriously, what do you do? And they were like, seriously, we're dog groomers. And I asked them, like, is that a real job? And they were like, not only is it a real job, there's real money in it. Mm-hmm. And I really didn't care about the money. Even selling cars, I was selling cars to try to help people. I actually had no passion for cars. I don't really care about cars. And people would ask me, like, how many horsepower, the torque? I'm like, I don't care. I'm here to help you get a good deal, I've always just wanted to help people. And so, anyways, when they told me about dog grooming, I just closed the folder and we just talked about dog grooming and how to get into it, how to get involved. And what I found out was that they actually told me now's the time to get into it because there's no regulation. You don't have to go to school. Mm-hmm. No certification is required. You can just pretty much buy the tools, have someone teach you, and get into it. And that horrified me. That didn't excite me at all. That actually made me feel like, oh my goodness. Like, nobody really knows that about the dog industry. But so I called around and I actually got a job working as a bather for free for an entire week just so I can get involved in the dog grooming business.
June, you said as a bather?
Yes, I started as a bather. So that's what they told me to do. Mm-hmm. They told me since there's not really any reputable schools in Atlanta, mm-hmm. To just find a place that would hire me on as a bather and work my way up. And so that's what I did. And, some of the things that I saw just really bothered me. And I think a lot of groomers who are listening to this probably could relate, especially the ones who are newer or maybe have started grooming and quit. There's a lot of things that make people who really love dogs very uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
in the dog community. And that's just the reality. I'm not trying to make anyone sound bad. It's just the reality of the industry.
Real quickly, remind me what year was this? Your entry to learning about this vertical of grooming. When was the car dealership?
Yes, that was around 2009.
Okay.
So,
All right. I'm just trying to get a good
yeah.
timeline. Yeah, because you're right. I mean, this is all a very relevant conversation, by the way. I hadn't even planned to be going down this road with you right now, but this is a very relevant conversation. Please continue. So you went and got a job as a bather.
Yes, and then I actually quit there twice. The second time they actually finally let me go. But the thing is, when we think about grooming, most people think it's just washing and clipping a dog.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, grooming is something very intimate. If you watch ducks groom each other or groom themselves, beavers, prairie dogs, monkeys, any animal species, grooming is such a vital part, and we spend hours every day doing it because for example, if a duck or a beaver didn't spend hours spreading those oils all throughout their body, they would freeze to death. But nobody looks at a beaver grooming himself for hours and says, look how vain he is. It's not about vanity. It's about health. It's about hygiene. And also, the way we approach grooming, let's just say we have a pack of dogs. They're laying around. They're just relaxing out in the wild. A dog that they don't know, a strange dog, comes into their group and starts grooming one of them. That would actually cause a fight. That pack may even kill that dog for being so disrespectful. But we never really think about that, and we just take the dog from the owner, put them in a kennel, put them on the table, and just start grooming them without ever establishing any sort of rapport. And so I think that's where a lot of the behavior, a lot of accidents happen. A lot of dogs, they just don't behave or cooperate because we've never earned that trust. So my very first step whenever I groom a dog is I take them outside with me. If they're old, there's all sorts of ways to build rapport, and some dogs give up their trust very easily. Other dogs, it takes a little more effort to gain their trust. So that's my very first step. And sometimes I don't even groom a dog the first day I meet them because they're so terrified. We've had so many bad experiences that I just let them sit near me. I just let them be around while I groom other dogs. They see that it's not a bad experience. And
How are you being? I mean, this is, obviously I am, as you know or don't know, I'm a dog trainer, and, those are my roots in the industry. And so obviously everything you're saying to me right now resonates so strongly and deeply. Even if I weren't a dog trainer, it would be resonating because I think that what you're saying and how you're saying it is very, it's just grounded in so much reality and science as well. But what problems do you have or challenges do you have? Because you hold, obviously these are steadfast rules and theories and you are living by what you're saying, but that's not the bulk of the industry, right? That's not that's not something that owners recognize. I mean, forget about the industry and your colleagues. Owners, pet parents don't think about that. They think of, like you just said, I drop my dog off the groomer, I get a bath, trim the nails, express the anal glands, clean out the ears, send them home, they smell good, see you in 6 weeks. So how are you able, what is the process for you, knowing how you approach this and where your passion lies? How do you reconcile that when you are facing, whether it be a pet parent or another groomer who just is completely out of alignment with what you're saying? What happens to you, and how do you get around that?
I usually just, let the results. The proof is always in the pudding.
Yep.
For example, we had a Brazilian Mastiff at Canine Lifeline. He was in there for training for some behavioral issues, and I had to groom him. I had to give him a bath and do his nails and clean his ears. A big Brazilian Mastiff, and these dogs are actually bred specifically to be human aggressive. So the first time we did the groom, he was a mess, and we had one of the trainers helping me. He beat her up. I mean, he muzzle punched her. He was clawing at her. He ripped her glasses off.
Wow.
It was a mess. The second time, though, because we allowed him to do that, and I try to always stay calm, and I don't allow myself to feel sorry for the dog because we can't help somebody if we feel sorry for them. I don't let myself get emotional one way or another because if we start to feel sorry and feel bad and feel sad, then as the dog continues the behavior, a lot of times it goes the opposite way, and then we go to the other side of the spectrum. We get angry and frustrated. And so I always try to just stay even right in the middle and just put myself in the mentality of a nurse. And this is just the procedure. This is just the patient. This is how they're acting. This is how we have to do it, But because we also incorporated breaks, and I walked with them outside, spent a lot of time with them, just letting them know that no matter what you do, I'm not going to be upset with you. And I always remind myself, this is his body that I'm messing with. If anything, he should be frustrated, not me. And so I just try to be respectful. But because we took the time, and this took about maybe 4 hours, because we incorporated so many breaks, and just really try to respect his feelings and honor the natural process. The second time he came in, I didn't need any help. I filed his nails, trimmed it by myself, cleaned his beard, even brushed his teeth. Because he now trusted me, because I earned it, because I actually spent the time to show him that I'm a trustworthy person, you know, that I am somebody that is worthy of his trust. And by doing that, and that was just that one dog, you know, the second visit. But other dogs, sometimes it takes 3 to 4 visits. And here's the thing, I don't blame any groomer that doesn't follow this process or take the time, because, you know, I lost my retail space in Atlanta. And then I started doing house calls and making house calls to my clients. And that didn't really work out because of the drive time stuff and breakdown time. So then we found a home-based business, and that actually started to work because we were actually living in the space that we were doing business in, and our clients were coming to us regularly. We actually found a process that was actually working. But as soon as we started to make a profit, my in-laws, they're both sick. And so my mother-in-law's in the hospital from multiple strokes. Her right side was paralyzed. My father-in-law is, you know, he has liver cirrhosis, diabetes, all kinds of issues. So they needed, she was the caretaker for my father-in-law, my mother-in-law was. And now they're both in the hospital. Now nobody's able to take care of them. And we get the call in December of 2014, so just last year in December, we got the call. And how do you say, well, after 3 years of really struggling, I now have a profitable business, and so I can't go to help. You know, I knew what we had to do, so we closed down the shop, we closed down our business, and I have clients in Atlanta still upset with me.
Because you're in Utah right now, correct? You've moved to Utah?
Yeah, so we moved to Phoenix, and in Phoenix we stayed there for about 7 months, and my mother-in-law recovered, she had physical therapy, so once everything was okay there, I got this opportunity to come to Utah and work with Heather Beck. And it's almost a godsend. Like, the universe really just has a way of working things out, even when things don't seem like they're working out. Mm-hmm. Because I have to admit that business is not my strong point. You know, like, I really didn't care about making money. I really just want to make an impact. So I'm really happy that I'm here working with Heather, because she allows me to focus on the art and just do the grooming, and she worries about the business part, about how to make a profit, how to charge for it. Because for some reason, I always felt like by charging more for what I do, somehow took away from the art, somehow took away from the passion. And I don't, you know, I'm still trying to get better at that, and you know, just be comfortable with the fact that it's okay to make a profit. It's okay to make money, or to want to make money, you know. But
June, you're talking about something right now that I think comes up on a fairly common basis on this show, which is the concept of authenticity, and how when you're working in a place when you're coming from a place that's authentic, that things do start to unfold and present themselves, and in a way that you may not have even thought about it. So it's even beyond visualizing things. It's beyond conceptualizing things. It's about just being, you know, authenticity is about being present, and it's about being honest, and it's about being, you know, all of these kind of worldly features to a person's character. But everything I hear you say and everything I've experienced with you, which is, you know, meeting you in person, watching your YouTube videos, reading about your process and your theories around grooming, and then hearing you speak right now, the only thing that I keep coming to, and this isn't the first time I've said this to a guest, because I do think we bring these guests, you know, we're drawn to these guests, is that you come from a place of complete and utter authenticity in everything you do. And I'm going to say this, and please, I hope you don't take this the wrong way. I have to say this because it's in my mind. You seem to be an extraordinary person. And I think everyone's, well, you're welcome. And I say that, I say that not lightly. You seem to have this, I mean, everyone's got an extraordinary component to them, right? And some people have, you know, extraordinary things. And you seem to be a very impressive person spiritually and beyond. And so I guess my question is how in the world were you selling cars? You have, I mean, not just cars, right? That's not what I mean. But you seem very evolved as a human being. And so how old are you? I guess that's the question I want to get to. How old are you?
I'm 34, but I tell people this a lot. I feel like I had to grow up quickly because when I was younger, my parents didn't speak a lot of English. Well, they spoke spoke almost little, zero to no English. And I remember when I was in third grade, I would have to call like the electric company, the gas company sometimes, and explain to them that my parents don't speak English, so that's why I'm calling, and they need
So
a
you've
little
been
more time to pay
caretaking.
for
So
this.
you were caretaking for your parents, kind of indirectly caretaking, but you've been a caregiver for, it sounds like, your whole life.
I guess so, but yeah, I remember like in recess, other kids in third grade are outside playing, and here I am worried about the light bill.
Worried about the what? Wait, what were you worried about?
Worried about the light bill because I would call these companies.
The light bill. Okay.
Yeah, like how are my parents going to pay for this light bill? Because I just had a conversation with the lady at the electric company asking her for some more time to pay for this. My parents, are.
And you were in third. June, you were in third grade.
Yes. And as a child, I'm worried about the utilities. While other kids are outside playing.
You grew up fast. I mean, you grew up fast, but it didn't grow. I mean, let's do something. We're going long here in this first half of the interview because this is obviously, I'm enjoying the hell out of this and you're talking about some amazing things. Let's take a break. Let's hear from our sponsors. When we come back, let's pick up right where we are because I think that everyone's probably mesmerized by this and trying to just picture. I have a 4-year-old, right? She's not in third grade yet, but I have a 4-year-old. I can't even begin to picture her having to have that level of responsibility at an age of 9 when you're in fourth grade. Let's talk about that when we get back. So everyone, hold on tight. I'm Jamie McDonald, host of Pets Mean Business on the Pet Life Radio Network. We're here with June Yoon, June the Groomer. We'll be back after these messages.
Franklin is part beagle and part yellow lab. He was rescued in 2010 from the streets of Los Angeles. Somebody threw him out of a car and shattered his leg. He was malnourished and emaciated. He was also shedding excessively. The vet bills, the prescriptions became increasingly expensive. And he wasn't eating. That led me to look for other food sources for Franklin, including a raw dog food diet. I found the entire recipe, which incorporated raw meat, eggs, rice, Dinovite, and Lico Chops, his omega-3 supplement, on Dinovite.com.
DINOVITE.com. 859-428-1000.
Now he's thriving. He's shedding much less. He never misses mealtime, and his coat is soft and shiny. I like that you guys are focusing on rescue dogs. I think every rescue deserves at least 90 days of Dinovite. 859-428-1000. Start that little pet off right. Just go to Dinovite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Begging to hear more of your favorite show? Full episodes of all our shows are available on demand. Go to PetLifeRadio.com to fetch our entire lineup of Possum Pet podcasts. Also, dig us up in iHeartRadio Talk and iTunes. Let's Talk Pets. Live and on demand only from Pet Life Radio. Let's Talk Pets.
Let's Talk Pets.
On Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Hey guys, we're back. So we were just talking before we went to break. I was picking up on this thing with June that there's a deep authenticity, that he has a major capacity, it seems to me, for caregiving and compassion. And now what we've learned here for June, because you've been so vulnerable in sharing this, is that June grew up as the primary English speaker in his household and had the responsibility from a very young age of being kind of the household caretaker and caregiver, so much so that when he was 9 years old, he has a recollection of, being out on the playground and everyone having a good time, coming down the slide and swinging on the swings and skidding knees and all these things that we do on the playground. And June was preoccupied with the fact and the idea that he wasn't sure how his parents were going to be able to pay the electric bill. And so, really interesting to hear how that experience and how those early childhood experiences for you have manifested in a way that you are truly, I don't know, it's always like nature nurture, right? I mean, did that create this person you are today, right? I don't know. Did that create this passionate, compassionate person that you are in your career today as a groomer? Or were you always destined to be that person? Or are you just a caretaker and that's just how you were trained? What do you think?
I think maybe all of the above, because I just remember as a young child, I've always looked up to my mother's pastor. He would always come over and, talk to us. And so I always wanted to be a pastor because I just thought that was how you help people.
Okay.
So I went to Christian Academy in high school, and in order to help pay the tuition, I would go door to door and sell Christian books, if you could call it selling. I would give most of them away. I got in trouble because...
All right, so remind me never to hire you as my CFO. Okay, got it. Moving on.
Yeah,
okay.
Right. And I would actually get in trouble because I would spend hours in their household sometimes and just pray with them and give them some books that might inspire them. And I wouldn't even charge. I would just take it, just promise you'll read it. And so I wasn't always a great salesman, but I always looked at it as evangelism rather than going on selling. I did well because I was sincere, I believe. And so I was able to, help my parents pay the tuition for high school. And in my senior class yearbook, you'll see it asks for your secret ambition. And my secret ambition was to become like Billy Graham and, help inspire the world. I thought I was going to be a pastor, so I even went to Bible college for a semester. But I just didn't feel the calling. And I felt like that was not something that you do just because you want to do it. You really have to be called. And I didn't feel the calling. I lost inspiration. And when I quit the Bible college, I lost a sense of purpose in life. And my father has always been an auto body mechanic ever since I remember. And he's always had his own body shops. And I would always help him give estimates to people. And I would see people unable to pay the repairs because they're paying such high monthly payments on their cars. And so I decided, since I know that this is a problem or, an issue that people have, I'm going to get into the car business and sell cars and make sure nobody gets into a bad deal. And so that was my new mission. Rather than be a pastor, I was going to help people not get screwed, pretty much, at the dealership.
You know what? This is so illuminating because I have really seriously sitting here been wondering for the last half hour, how did this guy get to be a car salesman? Okay, so so you became a car salesman because you want to help people.
Yes.
Okay, you're so cool. By the way, you are good. You are such a good person. You are so good. You are good, and you're ambitious, and you're good and you're ambitious, and you're married too, correct? You're married?
No, yes, I'm married. My wife is
your wife just as lovely as you.
Yeah, she's as kind as I am, but she has better business sense. She's smarter than me, pretty much.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
People didn't believe me, though. I would tell people at the dealership while we're doing the deal, like I would show them the invoice and say, this is the invoice, and I'll give it to you, let's just do the deal at this price because I still get a mini deal. Or what do they call it, a mini deal? Like no matter, even if the dealership loses money on the deal, they still give the salesman a $150 commission. And when they do unit bonuses, so when you sell 8 cars or 10 cars, you get bonuses. So that's what I would go for, is just the mini deals and try to get bonuses. And nobody would believe me. And I would tell them, like, seriously, I don't care about the car. You're asking me about this and that, about the specifics of the car. I don't care. If you like the car, I like the car. I just want you to get a good deal, and
do you think that really does exist? I mean, you obviously are, you are a unique person in that way. But do you think that there are other people selling cars that have that same mindset and that same mentality?
I believe so, right? Because we all have this desire to help people. Sometimes fear causes us to act in certain ways, but I think that everybody has the capacity, the ability to be compassionate and want to help. I think everybody has a desire to help others. I may be wrong, but but anyways,
I think you're talking about. You're talking about something that I always think about, which is core value. What are any individual's core values? And so to think about, I go to a therapist, because I think, I have no problem saying that. I'm in therapy. I am totally in therapy. I go once a week to this fabulous therapist. His name is Bruce. He's awesome. And we talk about, it's incredible because we talk through, we don't talk about, my mom, my dad, we don't talk about that at all. We talk about how, our whole kind of, all the work I do around that is about living your core values and how when you go off the path of living your core values, how that's where conflict comes in. And that's why people have trouble, right? They have trouble in their life because, or one of the reasons at least, is because when you're not living in this kind of authentic place of really being in your core value space, that things start to feel out of alignment And that's, again, where conflict comes up and you feel like you're just, you get stuck, so to speak. And so the work that I do with my therapist is all about, like, how do I stay in my core value? And if I'm not in my core values, what do I do to get back in alignment with that? And when I was out of my core value, what are the bad things that happened? And how can I rectify those things? And so, by the way, can't believe I'm actually sharing this, but this is cool. You're the kind of guy that brings this out of other people. So you are that person who I am not surprised that I'm having this response to be able to be vulnerable with you because you're so authentic. Anyway, so it sounds like your core values.
That's why your podcast is growing and getting so popular because you are authentic and you genuinely want to help people. And
I do, but you do too. I mean, but this is the thing. Yes, I appreciate that. And that makes me so happy that you say that. I take that compliment. But you also, I think that because you have a set of core values and you're just, as you're going through your path in life, you're staying so clear with it. You're so clear with those and you're doing things that are in alignment with them. And so you're having all of the success. You're having the success you're having. And whether it's, honestly, and I'm going to say this, whether it ended up being dog grooming or it ended up being, aeronautics, what's the word I'm looking for? Whether it ends up being like that you're a pilot or that you're a dog groomer or that you're an artist or that you're designing clothes, like whatever it is, I think that you're going to have a level of success that is unparalleled because of the fact that you're really clear about who you are. And also, I think that you are very bright and that you're very ambitious, so much so that I want to make sure we mention this because unfortunately, we're getting to the end of our time together. And I say that truly, unfortunately, that you actually wrote a book and you developed a philosophy and a methodology around taking care of animals and grooming dogs. So you developed something called the Furrific Way. And I know that I want to make sure we give people the information so they can go to their website. They can go to your website and they can learn more about the Furrific Way. And you also wrote a book called The Art of Grooming. And that's not some small endeavor. You're not just
that's the amazing thing is that I never felt like I was doing anything special or hard, and that's what I actually started the YouTube channel just for my clients, just so they can, if they wanted to, they could do it at home and they would understand, what it was. After I moved out of Atlanta, now my clients watch it, but none of my clients watched it. None of my clients would watch my videos, and I always tell people I'm the most surprised groomer you'll ever meet. I never thought. I remember telling my wife, oh my God, honey, we got 20 subscribers. Can you believe that? And now it's almost 7,000.
I'm on your YouTube channel. You have 6,844 subscribers to your YouTube channel, and you don't have just like a couple of views. You have like real views. I'm
amazed.
Here's what you have for a video that you did, how to groom a grouchy Shih Tzu, 228,000 views.
I don't even know what that would look like in people. I don't even know. I'm the most surprised groomer you'll ever meet. When I wrote the book, I wrote it just. It's impressive. Anybody would read it.
It's very, very impressive. How to groom a hyper pit bull, 30,000 views. This is some impressive stuff. Tips for shaving a matted coat, 85,000 views. The dog I couldn't groom the first time, part 1, the prep work, 130,000 views. Call yourself a surprise groomer.
Surprise groomer, yeah. I'm so
you are also a subscribed groomer. All right, so here's what we're going to do because we do have to, unfortunately, say goodbye. I hate to have to bid you farewell, but we do have to do that. So let's just make sure we get, and on Pets Mean Business, on the Pet Life Radio Network, Pets Mean Business website, we will also list all of these addresses and places to find you, your websites and your Facebook page and your Twitter page and your YouTube page. But just quickly, I want you to go ahead and just give the name of the website out. Please, won't you do that for me?
Yes, the website is Furrific Spa, and that's FURRIFICSPAW.com. And I know that's a head scratcher. It's weird, but that was the name of our business in Atlanta, and I still had the website, so I just figured let's just turn it into a blog.
That's fine. So that's the blog, right? Furrific Spa is the blog. That's where you have all of your information out there.
But
you work for a groomer in Utah. You work for Heather Beck Canine Lifeline in Draper, Utah, correct?
Yeah, and actually she's a trainer. She's a dog trainer, so she doesn't do any grooming.
Terrific. I love that you have a union between dog training and grooming. That's how it should be for sure. Well, you are terrific. I loved having you on the show. I loved having you. I love getting to know you more. I think that we have some offline, off air, you and I would need to have some conversations about the pet industry and education and some things that I'm doing that I think will speak loudly to you. And I'd like to think of some ways that we can work together, because you're on the cutting edge of what is truly happening to our industry and to the professionals within our industry, and how it's going to
Back
impact.
at you. Back at you, Jamie. I'm so excited to be a part of your show, and I'm so glad that we met, because you inspire me.
Oh, that's so nice to hear. I really appreciate that. And that's what we're supposed to do for each other. We're supposed to take care of each other and inspire each other and just have it be a true ripple effect. It's really what life is. It's totally what life is. It is just it is a beautiful thing. So on that note, June, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time today. Thank you. Thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. We're thanking each other.
I'll take that. You're welcome. I had a great time.
Thank you so much. June the Groomer, here on Pet Life Radio Network on Pets Mean Business. I'm Jamie Migdal. I'm your very proud host, and have been so delighted to bring you this last 45 minutes as I think a gift to all of you that have had the chance now to listen to June and his messages, and also just take from him and think about your own life. And I think that there's a lot of inspiration to be had, and a lot of lessons to be learned, and a lot of just being in the moment and just seeing where life leads you. That's, I think, from me, that's my takeaway today, and I want to pass that along to you, my listener. And for Pet Life Radio Network, I'm Jamie Migdal. We'll see you next time.
Let's Talk Pets, every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.